some of you know, some of the architects of this event are here. We were just a few days ago, yesterday and the day before, at the Smart Cities New York meeting, which is an extraordinary coming together of creative and innovative companies and people. And one of those made the comment to us in our meeting yesterday when we were describing the project. He said, "Oh, you're creating a wisdom city or a wisdom town." And we all like that. But this is also a wisdom room. There's an extraordinary number of talented people here that we've brought together. And we'd like to open this up to any comments, any questions, just get maybe take about 15 minutes or so before we have more food and drink to get some responses, get some new ideas, and or to answer any questions, things that may not be clear. We don't have all the answers. This is a new project, but we certainly have a vision, and we'd love to hear from you. I'll just take hands, but people can stand up and say something. Do introduce yourself and who you are, or kind of why you're here beforehand, but we'd love to hear from you. Please.
Where do I sign up to retire? I just want to, it sounds like the perfect place. No, I would love that.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Lee Wainwright. I'm a technology consultant. The one slide that you kind of flipped over really quick, I noticed that it had all the universities, the surrounding universities of the town there. Are there any plans made to connect with those universities, with the people that are in the town, to do presentations, to get involved with the universities and work with those students? Because that's what I do now, so I'm just kind of curious. Anything like that.
Well, you're from Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And I took my master's students from the program that I run in Moscow to Pittsburgh. And we spent a week in Pittsburgh looking at and there's an amazing energy center there downtown.
Yes.
That's one of the places we went.
Yes, they have one of the few life-sustaining buildings that you can actually see.
That's right. It was an amazing tour, but we went to others. So I'm aware of where you guys are coming from. Mm-hmm. You answered first. I have some things too, but you want to say anything about
Oh, sure. You could answer, and then I'll just.
Well, I was going to say the answer, of course, is yes. We want very much to bring the universities into it. I think universities in Thailand, as in a number of developing countries, are just beginning to make this transition to thinking more broadly. I mean, a lifelong in academia has taught me that there's a terrible culture in academia of disciplinary limitation. Economists talk to economists and political science talk to political scientists, and they never share ideas. I once gave a lecture at a university in India, and at the end and some faculty came to hear me, and at the end the chair took me aside and said, there were two professors sitting next to each other that have shared their offices are right next to each other for 20 years, and this is the first time they've ever been in the same room together. So this is how we have to break down the silos. I mean, a lot of smart city stuff is about breaking down the silos of services in great cities like this. And the wonderful thing we have going for us with JTMT is that we're starting from the beginning. This is an absolute the first time, and we're not saddled with the legacy of. New York is a remarkable city, but you have to retrofit the city. Whereas here we can start from the beginning and not repeat lots of the mistakes that have come before. I myself, through consortium of universities I'm involved in, we have our Thai member is Chulalongkorn University, where Dr. Ratchaka graduated from. It's the top university in Thailand. Within that, there's a remarkable guy who's actually not Thai, he's Indian, who does urban development and urban sustainability. He's one of the leading people in the world. He's done a lot of work over the years for the UN. In fact, he came from the UN to Chulalongkorn. So we're talking about how to get students and professors involved and the resources of those universities. That's very much part of our plans. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add a little bit more to what Robin just said. Like, well, what Lee is doing is going to be tremendously, useful for the Thai society because, well, as you see there, because we are entering the technological like a world right now, and you will see that there's a big gap between the older and the younger generation, right? So, like, the JTMT itself is going to become a platform that connect the two generations. Because like like people like Lee who are very tech savvy and also who's a professor, who's a teacher, who also have a lot of experience and knowledge and know how to pass on. So the JTMT will become a platform for youngsters to come and showcase their creativity. And with somebody like him who will actually advise, mentor, and also teach at the same time. So that whatever that they create, I want to have an open space for every youngster to come in and say that, hey, look, this is my idea. How do I put this out to the world? Something you can actually even try to connect them to the world. Whatever that they produce, if it can be used in the town, that's great. We buy their patent. Yeah, we will help them produce it and then even buy a market for them. Yeah.
Excellent. You've answered my question.
Yeah.
So apologies for the same experts in your room. This question might be a little.
Oma, you are an expert. Introduce yourself.
My name is Oma. I'm from the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. I just wanted to sort of understand, and we have a huge sustainability portfolio, but as far as I know, we haven't really focused too much on sustainable cities. I just wanted to sort of understand and get a little bit more information in terms of context. So what are some of the other sustainability pioneering projects around the world? Have you looked into those models, and what are some of the lessons we can take from those models that JTMT is looking to build up on?
Yes, we've looked at those models. Yes, there are many, too many to absorb it all. You have some people who know something about that on the end of your row from the Smart Cities group that you can talk to. But yeah, I mean, one of the keystones of successful public policy is having peripheral vision, looking around the world and looking at what other people have done. And those of you who've heard me talk about public policy know that I start with the four big questions of public policy. What works? What doesn't work? Why do things work or not work? And then the most important question of all, which is what works here? And you have to look at all of the legacy of case studies of projects that have gone before, and then figure out what's going to work for your context. And the context is very specific and very immediate in Thailand. And we're giving a lot of thought to that. Obviously, this is not the time or place to go through all of the many projects around the world on that, but there's a considerable literature of that, and there's a very vibrant community of innovators who are looking at all of the both past, present, and future of sustainable efforts and sustainable towns. And we're very much thinking in those terms. You know, we're not doing this in a vacuum at all. And in fact, one of the features of the research center and of the activities we're going to do is going to be bringing in top people in sustainability, people from our university like Joe Stiglitz and Jeff Sachs, whom we talked with yesterday and was very excited by this. We want to involve them at some points in our efforts and bring their expertise into the room and into the project.
Let me add a little bit more to what Robert just said. Okay, well, if you go online and you look at what does it mean by being a sustainable city, okay, well, people give definition to what is a sustainable city, right? And mainly it talk about government, okay, providing living space. That is like they're gonna provide living space that actually better the quality of life of the people who live in the community, connected with the people. Okay, and also using technology, using all those digital devices and everything to make a city connected. So when you talk about the word city, okay, well, the first thing that comes into mind is physical stuff, building. Okay, building, gardens, all those things, properties, things like that. Okay, but how many sustainable cities in this world that actually focus on human development and creating human capital? Yeah, so we are going to create a human capital. within this city, because there is no point putting so much technology in the city, connecting, the government. You give them a smartphone and they don't know how to use it, how to operate it. So what is the point of, having a smart city when your people is not developed and don't know how to, be responsible for the society and how to stand up, and so we get to empower the people to stand up and also educate them, and also that way they can stand up and also pass, do something for the society as well, instead of providing everything for them. So this is going to be a space that created opportunity for them to come up, stand up, and then do something for the society, instead of waiting for the government to do something and put in every convenient lifestyle for everybody. Okay? Yeah.
Eric.
Eric Kirkian, the creative director at Emergence. My question is to your siloing point, which is both on age and on the sort of residential versus commercial divide that you all seem to be setting out. I'm curious about mixed use and mixed age approaches and the implications for healthy living and engagement and things like that.
Well, on the age side, of course, like families everywhere, Japanese families, but there'll be other nationalities as well in smaller numbers, have generations involved. And of course, there are places in America that say, you can't bring them here, they're not allowed, they're too small. We're not going to do that. We really do want to make this multi-generational. Something Ningyan mentioned that's, and I suspect she didn't mention it because we don't want people to focus on it so much. But one thing is that we're going to set aside a small but not insignificant number of units for housing for Japanese companies. They're all, actually where we are is kind of halfway between Bangkok and where a lot of the Japanese companies are. And the poor people, they're not poor, but the people who have to work there have to spend 3 hours a day in traffic from downtown Bangkok out to it's in the Ayutthaya area and then back. So we're going to have some company executives and company employees living there, and we want to integrate them. Everybody's going to be integrated, whether they like it or not, into the community, and we want to. So that will be a kind of professional, intergenerational conversation that we can tap. As for the commercial and residential, the design isn't done yet. It's being done by Mitsubishi, but I think we're looking at some creative solutions for how to configure that, and we're in ongoing discussions. And it's people like you and the many experts you had at Smart Cities that we want to tap to think through that issue. Certainly, but the physical configuration, you saw a mock-up here, this thing, but that's just a mock-up. Yeah, it's we're not really sure exactly what it's going to look like yet. Deborah.
I have a question and a comment.
Introduce yourself.
Oh yes, hi, I'm Deborah Rugg, and I was here at the UN and was in the middle of developing the Sustainable Development Goals, and I'm an evaluator by training, meaning I am very much interested in the data that proves these things work and that holds governments and groups accountable for achieving them. So, and I've worked in health for a long time, so my question at the moment is about the healthcare opportunity. So if we're over 55, you could have lots of people, lots of generations, 55, 75, 95, especially as people live long. What is the healthcare envisioned system going to look like? Will you have your own contained healthcare services?
Yes. We're partnering with the largest medical care company in Japan. We've already reached the understanding with them, and they're going to run the in-town health facility, which will be a hospital as well as health services. And Ning can tell you a little more about this, but we envision the healthcare as being ongoing so that people can stay in the town even if their mobility and autonomy becomes limited, that the town is still accessible to them. We're not, she alluded to this, we're not selling any of these residences, we're leasing them. So that gives us and gives our residents much more flexibility. It doesn't lock them into a difficult commercial arrangement, especially as they get older. It gives them a good deal of flexibility. But
Okay, let me
yeah,
answer.
she knows more.
Yeah. Well, this is actually one of our trade secret. Okay. Well, basically, you can be the first group to know about our trade secret. Okay. Well, we actually have a plans for all the residents who are gonna move into to live and work in this town, because we are very concerned, because we're getting older, not younger. Okay. So once they get in their 55 plus already, and it's going to go down. Okay. So basically, our complex is gonna be designed from the very beginning in order to accommodate the senior citizens. So you don't even need to move out of your apartment. Okay, so you can continue to live until you die in there, unless you get sick. Okay, if you get sick, then you need to be transferred to hospital. We have hospital inside the town, okay? Like a premium, like a premium grade and Japanese standard and everything. So basically, well, what about, like when you turn when you first get into 55 years old, okay? And there's an age limit for this. Okay, if you are under 55, you're gonna have to wait. Yeah, but if you are over 55, you can sign up, in advance. Yeah, but if you are 55, you are qualified to get it. When you come into this town, what happened is there's a lot of choice for you. You can choose to work, okay? You can choose to volunteer, but we won't allow you to sit still and do nothing, okay? So basically, we want you to contribute something, okay? If you don't want to put the whole effort, okay? You don't want to work, well, it's a part-time job. You don't have to work 7 days a week. Yeah, you can choose. You can work like 2 days, 3 days, play golf 1 day, go sightseeing, do whatever you want, but contribute something. You can even bring your own idea. You don't have to follow our activities. Okay, if you have your own idea, you tell us, hey, I have this idea that I want to do for the community. Can we do it? Sure, we put together how to do that. Okay, and then when you move in, we do not sell our complex, not at all. Okay, so we lease long term. The first term will be 15 years. Okay, and this is our trade secret, which developer are looking to get. Okay, the first 15 years, we took part of your rent payment, which is very nominal. Yeah, comparing to the pension that you get, it's completely nothing, because we do all the research about how much the pensioner who we're targeting. Okay, so it's really like $500 a month, something like that. That's the rental. Okay, but we took another part, which is your deposit, which is the same amount. We take your deposit, we invest because of our financial background. Okay, we just gonna take that deposit and invest with the way that we don't lose your capital, so don't worry. Okay, we do not lose your capital. We have a way of putting that part of money to invest, which after 15 years is gonna give return to us, and we will provide you free nursing care with the money that we invest. Yeah, so when you sign up for the second round, you get free nursing care for another 15 years. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is our trade secret. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't all sign up at once. I'm ready quickly. Please feeling weak.
Yeah. I mean, part of the experiential learning, I'm impressed. My basic question, since I'm from Japan, trying to get, say, even 50% of 20,000, part of the observation I've made with that visit to Japan, communication skill, like this town.
Okay.
What language are they speaking? Half Japanese, half English, or do you know what I mean? Professional wisdom town to share the knowledge of great knowledge from Mitsubishi people and other people. How
we can manage that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's basic questions that I've seen enough Japanese people who are quite comfortable, because I'm encouraging.
Yeah. Okay.
Be part of the bigger world.
Yeah.
Biggest barrier, communication.
Yep. Very fair question. Thank you. Okay. Let me share with you about one of my experience. Okay, one of my experiences, like when I was like 22. Okay, there was a program called it's gonna answer your question of how we're gonna manage the language problem. Okay, I joined a program that is called the Ship for Southeast Asian Youth Program. Okay, it was originated by the government of Japan. Well, they take the big ship called the Nippon Maru. Okay, which looked like a 5-star hotel, and then each Asian country. Okay, at that time ASEAN had like 5 countries, but now it's 10 countries already. Okay, so each country will pick the best youth of their country, okay, coming from every part of the country, okay, 35 people each, okay, so it's the brain of the country, 18 years old until 30 years old, so 35 people each year, okay, from different country. We put them in a ship, okay, the government select all those people, and then they were, with 350 people on board the ship, there was a lot of activity going on, and also this ship like visit a lot of country in Asia, and it will always end in Japan, where you go for homestay and everything in order to learn about the culture. But when the ship is sailing, you know, like you get together, do a lot of club activities, discussions, you know, like we were treated like diplomats, okay? So when I joined that program, the only country that had the youth who did not speak English at all was Japan.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So, but you know what? It turned out that at the end of the program, you know, like a lot of, you know, we become friends, even without the, you know, like we became friends. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So the program lasts for like 50 days. Okay. At the end of 50 days, you would be surprised that the language was not the barrier anymore, because everybody just opened their heart, worked together. You know, they help each other. Okay, we help them. They didn't understand, then we try to understand what they try to say, then we act on their behalf. Sometimes we translate for them. We are intending to create the same environment, the same atmosphere where the people who are our resident, and also, you know, like, because it's not just Japanese, it will be like different nationalities. It's gonna be a global city, okay, not just a Japanese city. So Thai and also Japanese, they will come together. There will be school, there will be training courses that you can take. Yeah, so, you know, like so we can, you know, like teach each other, and then we can also learn from each other. And the people who will be working there, they will be all, you know, at least speaking some Japanese and English, of course. Yeah, so this how you will have people who, you know, can communicate with you for sure. Yeah, so you will be able to get by. At the same time, if you open your heart and you get to learn about the local culture and also other people's culture, then I'm sure that language will not be a problem, because like there will be facility that provide education, provide training for you that you can go to for free, and you know, and you can learn. There will be a lot of way that you can, you know, master the language, even the
You'll have a
local.
smartphone and it'll just translate on
Google.
the spot.
That's a technology that's developing
Yeah.
very rapidly. That's
Yeah.
true. And to answer your original,
Now I use it now, working in 6
Yeah.
that's right. And I was going to say, I also, one of the public policy issues I've addressed in talks at Harvard, at Columbia, and Russia is about using new technologies, and particularly artificial intelligence technologies. And the most promising and the fastest moving are the translation things and the healthcare things. Those are way ahead of even the self-driving cars and so forth. I wanted to introduce someone whom I ran into here. You were all invited. A lot of you were my former students from Columbia, but as I was walking in the door, bringing the rest of you in, I ran into an old student of mine from Columbia who has had a lifelong career at the UN. She was formerly the ambassador of Bahamas to the UN, and she is now currently CARICOM's ambassador to the UN, Ambassador Angela Missouri Sherman Peter. Welcome. And she also said to me, she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Sustainable Town." And she said, "Oh my God, we have to talk. I'm going to a Sustainable Development Conference next week." But she was a student of mine at Columbia, and it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. This is absolutely incredible. It's a bit away from our Caribbean hurricane destruction. How do we rebuild our cities? But it's interesting. That's the conference I'm going to, is because I know you all know the disasters we had from Maria and Irma last year. So we're looking at how to build back better. So this was timely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
I also told him that he's responsible for the degree that I got from Columbia.
Well, Angela would come in and say, "I have an exam next week, but the SG is sending me to Geneva. What do I do?" And I said, "Go and, you know,
Go and come back.
Come back when you come." And she made it through. There was another column.
Yeah,
Introduce yourself.
I am a reporter, a journalist, and I've lived in Japan for 10 years, but I've also lived in Thailand, and I covered Thai politics, including the coup of 2006. I've interviewed Prime Minister Thaksin, I've interviewed General Prem, I've interviewed Abhisit back in the day. So I have to ask this question. Knowing my knowledge of Japanese being quite, I would say, I think it's fair to say, conservative, how can you sell this concept to them against the backdrop of what is basically political instability in your country, and how does that look going forward?
You want to take that question?
What you call to Japanese survey in Japan.
But it's also concern the government? Okay.
And I would say, just adding to that, me personally, I mean, I would love to consider something like this in Thailand, but it is one of the things that would be on my mind. It's like, how can I know that this will be a stable and possibly democratic society going forward, so that my retirement environment will be safe and stable?
Okay, I'll answer that, so I won't put you in trouble. Okay, this is my personal opinion, okay, because I work a lot with the Thai government, and also I work a lot, on a lot of projects with the Thai government and also with the Japanese people. And as Robin mentioned before, that we have about 69% of Japanese investors in Thailand right now. And Thailand is probably like the country where we have the most Japanese investor. Okay, they stationed there. No matter you know what, this is not new at all. Okay, like political instability in Thailand, this has been going on years and years.
It's a great tradition.
Yeah, it's like, you know what, like, and well, you know, like a lot of time, you know, like people looking at us from outside. And then they think that, okay, wow, what can happen? What can happen with the country, with the political? Are they going to be shooting everything? No, it never happened. Okay, a lot of time it won't happen. Well, the thing is, like I would say that being a developing country is a transition. You know, like that. You know, a lot of time when you develop the country, you know, like sometimes you need to make one. You try to go forward. But then at the same time, as you go forward, you know, like you hit the dead end somewhere. If you're hitting the wrong direction or something, then it's also necessary to make one step backward in order to rethink about if we're going to the wrong direction or not. Yeah, I'm not saying this because I support the military regime or anything like that. But I would say that Thailand, just like any other developing country, you're going through a lot of corruption problem. Okay, and during the past decades, we were one of the countries that is going through this, right? Doing the Thaksin, whatever, true or not, I don't want to comment on that. But the thing is that it created a lot of problem in the country where the people were very unhappy. Okay, so there was a big change going on, and then we are doing things like on trial and error right now, I would say, and we are trying to take the country to the new direction right now, which we hope that, okay, from now on, with the cleaning up of the corruption and, you know, putting in the Thailand 4.0 policy, the new development goal and everything, we are gearing toward, you know, something better and brighter. Okay, so let's hope for that for today, because like I'm sure that in the past is the past, and we can't go back and change that. But from today's on, I'm sure that everybody's is gearing toward a new direction, which means that we wanted to push the country forward into a very clean and a very professional, in a very developed, you know, in a way that you know, it gives like a better quality of life for everybody, justice and fairness and everything like that. So now, what about the Japanese? Okay, since they've been there from the Ayutthaya period, okay, the Japanese are with us. I would say that 400 years ago. Yeah, Yamada Nagamasa was a Japanese merchant, okay, who went to Thailand, okay, served during the three reigns of the Thai, you know, like the Thai, you know, like the Thai Thai kings. Yeah, so basically, you know, like what Japan and Thailand has a very long relation going back 400, 500 years. They were always there, in and out, and there was just like because we share this very similar culture and very, very similar way of thinking, and also they have been friends, you know, doing thick and thin. And so, well, even if we are going through all this political instability, you will see that they never leave. Yeah, the only thing that happened is they will delay the investment further. Okay, when there's a political instability, they delay it. Well, they don't put in more investment, but they don't leave. Okay, because like they know that it will come and it will go, because it happens so many times in our country. Yeah, that I would say that they pretty get used to it. However, yeah, what this group of people who are we are targeting. Well, when you do, well, since my background is international migration, usually, in order there is one mechanism that you look at. Well, for international migration, there's a push factor and the pull factor. Okay, so Thailand, being a country that has a lot of natural resources and also a good, a good hub for investment, and also we have a good, a big pool of labor, and we are very friendly to all the Japanese and foreign investor, and since they've been there for a long time, well, we have a really good pull factors here, right? And we also welcome everybody to come and share with us their experiences and knowledge. At the same time, Japan has a big push factor coming our way. First of all, Japan has been, because of the retirement age, and 40 million Japanese right now are over 55 years old, and they have been forced to retire. And these people, once you put them, once they retire, they cannot enjoy the same kind of life that they used to enjoy before when they were making a lot of money, right? So you marginalize them. Okay, in some way, and so they are looking to do something. So they're already looking, even if we're not looking for them, they're still looking for us, to go somewhere and do something about it. And Thailand just happened to be, a place where they feel very comfortable, to be there. Yeah, so they can do business, they can, enjoy their life. They will, because of globalization, you get anything that you can get in Japan as well. Yeah, and so basically, I would say that this is also a push factor that pushed them out. At the same time, with the natural disaster coming their way, earthquake, typhoon, flooding, even like the North Korea, that thing flying over the Sea of Japan, it's just like encourage people to go out, find an alternative settlement. You don't want to wait until it drop on the back, on your roof and then move, right? So they are already looking for that. So with the natural disaster that is coming and the possibility of a war, which we hope it won't happen, these people have been pushed, they have been, ready to move somewhere. So, but they're not thinking about selling their house or their home and then move to a foreign country completely. That is not going to happen. And that's why when we conducted the feasibility study, they were looking to rent or lease long term instead of buying. They're not looking to buy at all because at the end of the day, some of them might want to go back and, pass in Japan like that. Yeah, so we did the feasibility study. And the funny thing is when we conducted the feasibility study of this project 3 years back, we had nothing, I'll tell you. I only have my business plan and a couple pictures. And then we just promote this idea, that we wanted to create this kind of community where these people can come and help us do something and contribute back to the society. And with 4 pictures, what the percentage that we got is that they said, you build or we move. 69% of those people say that we build, they move. So we are pretty sure.
I think there's a good for this.
Yeah.
Well, let's end the formal part there. Let's have a drink. I know I need one. Thank you all for coming. Do you want to say any words, Jasmine? Okay. But it's great to see you, and we're going to keep in touch with each and every one of you about this project and its evolution, and we may call on you for help and advice, and once we have something for you to see, we'll all invite you to come out and join us. But thank you very much.